Hey everybody, how you doing today? My neighbor just dropped off a book, actually the other day dropped off a book by a researcher named Dr. Masaru Emoto, a Japanese researcher. And in the laboratory, he was looking at water crystallized, and then while it was still frozen, create these slides, and under the microscope, you look at them and take pictures of them. And some of them were exquisite. They were beautiful. And the first time I kind of went through the book, I just looked at the pictures, and they were stunning. And then some of the other pictures were like, this is not all that attractive. What's going on here? What is this? And as I began to read the text, what he would do is on the water itself, before it was frozen, he'd put a little word on the glass, like love, peace, hope, joy, and other ones he would say fool, idiot, negative, and sometimes even more negative kinds of things. And then he'd show the pictures, and the ones that had the very positive words were the ones that had these gorgeous crystals, and the ones that had the negative words, negative crystals. And it's his theory that water has, by its nature, is a listening element. It just hears and absorbs sound and meaning. And so he continued the experiment a little bit. He would just he would say the word, not written on it, but he would say to one glass love, or I love you, joy, peace, that, and then the negative stuff to the other glasses, and then freeze the water, look at the crystals. Same thing was happening. And then he took the experiment further and played music. And he would do Mozart, Beethoven, Chopin, and then hard rock, other genre of music, and then freeze those crystals. And when he put that under the microscope, again, the classic music, beautiful, kind of almost like it heard the music and reproduced it in color and shape. And the same thing with the other music, produced jagged, rough, dark. And he made some references, and it got me thinking. And we hear this expression, well, not an expression, but people are saying to us, human being, we're made up of 70% liquid. Maybe it's a little bit less, but somewhere between 60-70%, more than half of water. And he raises the question that as that water moves through the body, feeding the cells, if it's hearing and listening to those kinds of words, what is it carrying into our body? Not that we intend it to be, or it's an intended thing, or it's consciously that's what we're doing, but it's just taking all that in. What does that mean? What's happening? And it got me thinking, well, what does happen? Well, we know that children who are raised with negativity from their parent, if a kid is always told over and over again, you're so clumsy, you're so this, you're so that by the time they get into school, kids are teasing them about being clumsy. They try out for sports. They don't do well. Teased and negative comments made. How does that affect? Does it actually go beyond just the mind? Does it go beyond the programming of the subconscious mind? Does it actually change the cellular life in the person, in that kid? So it got me thinking, and I often with my clients always ask them, what are you saying to yourself? What are the internal conversations that are going on? Begin to listen. You don't have to become a big journalist, but for a few days, just listen to those conversations. Just stop and say, what's my head saying? What's the little tape playing in the background? You fool, you jerk, you this, you that. It's saying, hey, you got this, you can do this. It's a great day. You're plugged into the life force, It's like you got the energy of the world, the creative design of the master creator. What is it that we're telling ourselves? What is it that we're believing? And how is that affecting our body? How is it affecting our spirit? And then, of course, emotionally, how does it affect us? Because by the time I see people and they come to me to talk about what's going on with them, they've had a lot of those kind of conversations. A lot of stuff to unpack from childhood. Now, the interesting thing that we know is that in each moment, it's really just now. So past, present, and future are all right in this moment. So when you make a change right now, you can jump out of those time warps, those timelines that you're in, and come into the present with a different view of yourself. And I heard this wonderful story about a young girl who was just kind of dancing her heart. She was just spinning and dancing and kind of listening to the music in her head. She was with her mother, and they were kind of in a little waiting room, I think. One of the other women in the waiting room been watching the girl and quite delighted. And she said, you're very talented. Maybe you'll be a dancer someday. And the kid kind of paused for a moment and looked up at her and said, I am a dancer. We need to have that sense of now. Now. One of the quickest, easiest, fastest way to change a lot of the garbage that we carry around with us on a day-to-day basis is simply making that shift, saying right now, this is the way I am, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I have it. And I have it. And you do. So I'm here to encourage you to try it, trust it. Just make the decision that this is who I want to be. I want to be a dancer. I want to be happy. I want to be whatever it is, fill in the blank. And then listen to the repercussion, that unconscious or that quiet little tape in the background. What is it saying to you? Is it supporting you? Is it cheering you and saying, finally, I've been telling you this about yourself? Or is it saying, not you, not today, not going to happen, you're always blah, 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 blah. What do you do about it? You hit delete. Those are just old records. It's like, you go into some of those old bars. They're not smoky anymore, but they used to be kind of smoky, and they have a little jukebox there, and you throw a quarter in and listen to a song, or a dime. It was probably, I don't know what it was. Anyway, you're just hitting a new song. You're playing a new record of what's going on inside your head. Try it out. I know some of you are skeptics, saying, that's not going to make a difference, or I've tried it. Yeah, for a day. How long did it take? How long have you been listening to that old soundtrack? A day, a week, a couple of months? No. It's like the little girl whose parents did not tell her that she was clumsy, but actually appreciated and celebrated her ability to dance and twirl and listen to the music in her head. So we make that decision and then delete everything else out. And then commit to it. Because as you go through, as the now moment shifts a little bit, you have to make some adjustments. If you're going to maintain that, I am positive, I'm happy, I'm peaceful. Whatever it is that you're telling yourself, the new version of yourself, stay with it. Keep making those little subtle changes. Become the new you. This is the new you. Try it on for a while. You don't have to trust me. Try it on for a while. How long? If you want it to become a habit, a couple, 3 weeks. But if you want to see the change, 2 or 3 days. But notice when because I've worked with people, I've been doing this for a long time. And in the standard psychotherapy practice, you come back a week later, it's like, that's too late, that's too much time. You need to be monitoring yourself on an ongoing basis to make sure that you've made that shift. You've made a decision, You're deleting everything else around it. You commit yourself to it. And then the third step is to believe it. Just believe it. Even if it's just a little bit, believe it. And that begins to change. Like the water in you, if you want an explanation of how does this happen, changes the water in you that's feeding the cells. And what happens when you break down a cell? You get down into the atoms, right, of it. And then when you break down an atom, what do you find? There's just energy there. There are waves. There might be some particles that act like that because they know you're watching, but when you're all done, it's just waves of energy. It's just shifting that and staying with the flow. Do it for a week. Stay constant each day. Make those shifts. Let me know what happens. I can't wait to hear the change and shift in you.